Hey everybody, welcome to Fit Tip Tuesday. Today I'm answering a question from a student in my Easy Fit and Sew yoga pants. She wanted to know if she could create a one-piece yoga pants waistband that is smaller at the waist than it is where you sew it to the pants, because she has a little bit of a defined waist. And there is actually a way to create that, and I want to show you because it's really easy and you can get a better fit if you have a smaller waist than your, tummy and full hip. You can see in front of me here, this is a pair of my yoga pants, and you can see this is a basic rectangle. Okay, so I cut out a strip of yoga pants fabric, folded it in half. First I sewed it into a circle, then I folded it in half, and then I sewed it onto the top of my yoga pants. Now for me, this works great because my waist measurement where my yoga pants are is very similar to my tummy and full hip. I don't have much of a defined waist. If you have a defined waist, this can be a little bit loose at the top. One way to fix it, besides changing the shape of the pattern piece, is to put some elastic up at the top. And if you have a pair of yoga pants that you've already made and the top of your waistband is too loose, you can simply come in here, take apart this center back seam on the waistband and snake some elastic through. I have a piece of my cut and sew elastic, and you can see you don't need to make it super wide, but after you snake it in, let's pretend it's on the inside here. What you're going to do is you're going to push it up to the very top so it's nestled into that top fold, and then just tack it in a few places, like where the side seams would be. You can also zigzag the hole shut that you made, keeping that elastic up there, and that will give you some shape to your waistband. But going forward, if you want to design a waistband that has some shape to it, I'm going to show you how to do that. Before we get going with that, I remembered that I forgot to show you how to use the Big Mat scraper that comes with the Big Mat Rotary cutting surface mat that I have. And I just want to show you here, I've been using this mat to death, and you can see there are a lot of cut lines in my mat. I'm a very aggressive cutter with my rotary cutter. I push down and I cut like I mean it. And like, for example, today I'm going to show you how to draft an easy pattern piece for the yoga pants waistband. And I don't want to have any catches or any ridges in my mat, because then it'll affect, how I'm drawing. So if you have one of these big mat rotary cutting surface cutting mats, it came with the scraper, and this is actually an added accessory. This is a little suction cup with a knob on it to be a holder or a handle. So what you get with the mat is this scraper. But I'm going to stick my little optional knob accessory back on. And what you're going to do is you're going to hold it quite firmly. And I do have a few cuts in here that are bumped up slightly. So all you do is you basically rub this scraper at a 45-degree angle, along your mat, and it smooths out the mat for you. And now I've got this really nice and smooth surface. I can't even feel those cuts now. So this is very cool. You can see that the grid on my mat was not affected by that. I've used this a few times now, and my grid is still very nice and easy to see, and I have a smooth surface. So now let's get going with making a pattern piece that you can use to cut out, let's call it a fitted yoga pants waistband. All right, so I'm going to make a half of pattern piece, meaning from center front to center back on one side. So this waistband will be cut out on the fold. So the first thing you want to do is create a line that's half of the total amount of the length of the waistband you need. Then you have to draw the width of your waistband. Now, for this particular waistband, it's a strip of fabric that's folded in half. Okay, so whatever the width of your finished waistband is, it's double. So this isn't a 4-inch waistband finish, so that means it was an 8-inch piece of fabric before I folded it in half. I'm going to create a 8-inch rectangle essentially. So I'm going to measure down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so there's 8 inches there. And then let me draw 8 inches over here. And I'm basically using the grid on my mat to get that measurement. And then I'm going to create the bottom of my pattern piece. So what I've created here is a beautiful rectangle. If I cut it on the fold, so I'm going to write here, cut on fold. Okay, so this is my center front. All right, so that's what a basic waistband looks like. Now let's give it some shape. Okay, so to give this waistband some shape, the first thing I'm going to do is find my center, which is at 4 inches. Okay, right here. And I'm going to draw a dashed line at my middle. Okay, so basically, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to dash in just so you can see where this is the top folded edge of the waistband. So this is the folded top edge of waistband. Okay, that's what this is. Okay, so at the center, here's the part where we're going to be dealing with making this smaller. Okay, so at the center here is where the top edge is. So what I'm going to do is, and I think I'll use a different color. How about some pink? I'm going to measure in 1 inch, okay, from the original edge. And then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my waistband in half like this along that dashed line. Okay, and I'm going to create a smooth curved line from that inch down to the original length. All right, and then let's put a couple pins in there. Whenever you cut something out that's on the fold, it's really a good idea to pin the layers together. That way it won't shift. Okay, so basically I'm just going to cut this out now. And I'm going to cut it out on the pink line. We'll just cut this out here. All right, let's see. All right, now I'm going to unfold this. All right, and you can see what we have here is a shaped center back seam, basically. So when we sew this into a circle, you're going to sew this shaped line instead of going straight across. And what that's going to do is it's going to make the top edge of your waistband 2 inches smaller than the base of the waistband. I don't think you could get away with making it much smaller with one seam. Another option is if you want to make a 2-piece waistband, you could create a situation where you're making this curved shape on both ends and then sew them together, and those can be where your side seams are. So that would be another way to get rid of even more, but I really wouldn't take more than 1 inch off per end because it'll start to get a little bit wonky. But you can see here now, this is half of my waistband and it's 1 inch smaller here than it is down here. So that's how you can make a one-piece waistband that's a little bit smaller. And again, if you want to do it, if you want to then create, like if you have a really defined waist, we'll change this to the side seam. And then what you would do is fold it in half this way. And again, I would pin it together. Okay, so once you fix one side, all right, then you could cut this off. Okay, and now you have a waistband that is 4 inches smaller at the waist versus the end. And you'd have to, instead of cutting on the fold, you have 2 side seams here. Here's the other side seam. And then it would be cut 2. Okay, one for the front and one for the back. And then you would sew them together here, flip it down, and then sew it onto the waist. Sew it onto the waist edge of your yoga pants, just like usual. So those are 2 ways actually to create a more shaped waistband. I will add this to the playlist for the how to sew the yoga pants playlist that I have. I'll add it there, and I'll actually put a link in this video to that playlist because I have the complete class is free on my channel. I don't know if everybody knows that, but I did a complete start to finish how to sew the yoga pants class, and it's organized in a playlist. I'll put a link to that. So if you have any questions about creating a shaped waistband that will fit a defined or a smaller waist better than just using a standard rectangle, please post your comments below and I will help you. On Friday, I'm going to kick off my shorts sew along. I'm really excited about this. So join me 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Savings Time for part 1 of the short sew along. I hope to see you there. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. And thank you for watching.